You already know if this game is for you. You just might not want to admit it. Because Super Meat Boy 3D is one of those games where the question isn't, is it good? It's, can you handle it? This launches March 31st, developed by Team Meat, and if you've ever played the original, you already understand the reputation. Precision, speed, failure, over and over again. And now, for the first time, all of that is being pushed into full 3D. That alone is the biggest reason to pay attention to this game, and also the biggest reason to be cautious. Because translating something as tight and precise as Super Meat Boy into 3D is not a small change, it's a risk. In the original, everything was clean. You always knew exactly where you were, exactly where you needed to land, exactly why you failed. In 3D, that clarity can disappear. Depth perception becomes a factor, camera angles matter, movement has more variables, and suddenly, something that used to feel fair can start to feel unpredictable. Now, to be fair, early impressions suggest that the game is actually doing a surprisingly solid job keeping that precision intact. The core idea is still the same. You move fast, you react faster, and if you touch anything dangerous, you're dead instantly. No health bars, no second chances, just instant restart. And that instant respawn loop, that's still here, and it's still addictive. You fail, you retry, you get slightly better, and eventually, you make it. That loop is the entire identity of this game. And if it clicks for you, it's one of the most satisfying feelings you can get from a platformer. But here's the thing, that loop can also break you. Because this is still a tough-as-nails experience, the kind of game that ramps from difficult to genuinely brutal, with levels designed to push your reflexes to the limit. And now it's doing that in 3D, which means mistakes might not always feel like your fault. And that's where things get complicated. Some early hands-on impressions mention that while the transition to 3D works better than expected, it can also introduce moments of confusion, especially when judging distances or navigating more complex spaces. So instead of, I messed up, you might occasionally feel like the game messed up. And in a game like this, that difference matters a lot. Now let's talk about gameplay itself. At its core, it's still pure platforming. Running, jumping, wall sliding, dodging saw blades, avoiding traps. Everything that made the original so iconic is still here, just expanded into a new dimension. There's even a mid-air dash now, giving you a bit more control and flexibility when moving through levels. And that's a big positive, because in 3D, you need that extra control. Otherwise, the game would feel way too rigid. But again, more mechanics means more complexity, and more complexity means more room for things to go wrong. Another thing worth paying attention to is level design. The original Super Meat Boy was famous for how tightly crafted its levels were. Every jump, every obstacle, every movement felt intentional. And that's something that's very hard to replicate in 3D. Because now, you're not just designing left-to-right challenges, you're designing space. And space is harder to control. If the level design holds up, this could be incredible. If it doesn't, the entire experience starts to fall apart. Now, on the positive side, the game is clearly trying to stay true to its identity. It still has that chaotic, slightly grotesque humor, the exaggerated violence, the ridiculous premise of a cube of meat trying to save his bandaged girlfriend from a villain in a jar. It doesn't take itself seriously, and that's part of its charm. And visually, while it's not trying to be ultra-realistic, it has a very clean, readable style, which is important for a game that demands this level of precision. But even here, there's a potential downside. Some early feedback points out that in certain moments, the visuals can feel a bit cluttered. And in a precision platformer, clutter is a problem. because if you can't clearly read the environment, you can't react properly. And in a game where milliseconds matter, that's everything. There's also the question of performance. This kind of game needs to feel smooth, not good enough, smooth. If the frame rate drops, if inputs feel delayed, if anything interrupts that flow, it directly affects gameplay. And some early demo impressions suggest that performance consistency might be something to watch closely at launch. Not a deal breaker, but definitely something to keep in mind. So here's what it really comes down to. You should consider buying Super Meat Boy 3D if you already love brutally difficult platformers, if you enjoy mastering mechanics through repetition, and if you're curious to see how that classic formula translates into 3D. But you might want to wait. If you get frustrated easily, if you prefer more forgiving gameplay, or if you're not sure about how well that precision will hold up in a fully 3D space. Because this game is not trying to appeal to everyone. It's doubling down on what made the original work and pushing it even further. And that's either exactly what you want or exactly what you should avoid. So what you're about to see next is the most important part. No talking, no opinions, just gameplay. Watch how the movement feels. Watch how the camera behaves. Watch how often mistakes look fair or questionable. Because with a game like this, you'll know very quickly if it's for you.